On a giant balance scale stands all, the two richest people in Japan. On this scale is placed their entire net worth. The two are playing a game of who is richer. The rules are simple. Two people with similar assets convert everything into gold bars and place them on the scale. Whoever side is heavier wins. The winner takes all of the loser's assets in this battle. Xiao He exchanged a total of 4 billion, while bald Lao Bai exchanged a full 60 billion. The disparity in strength seems set, but this 60 billion and 40 billion are just the initial values. They have 3 more chances to seek outside help within the allotted time. In the first round, Lao Bai, with his extensive business connections, quickly had his allies in place. They brought over a huge ivory and coral, clearly valuable. But after professional appraisal, it was determined that these items could not have their source of purchase verified, so they couldn't be valued. Meanwhile, Xiao He's allies arrived in large numbers, but puzzlingly, they didn't seem very familiar with him. Even Xiao He's enthusiastic hugs were met with awkwardness. This scene made Lao Bai's side. Kaiji realized something was wrong. Xiao He, however, was smug, as his allies' funds were rapidly surpassing Lao Bai's. Despite Xiao He's taunts, Lao Bai remained calm because he had a backup plan. A top 5 billionaire in Japan. He brought 4 truckloads of gold. This was a huge boost for Lao Bai's side, but who would have thought? The billionaire, upon seeing Lao Bai, quietly apologized and then turned to Xiao He. It turned out Xiao He had orchestrated everything the day before the game started. He found this person and somehow discovered evidence of the billionaire's company cooking the books. Under Xiao He's threat, the billionaire had no choice but to comply. Kaiji realized something was wrong, and this move made everything clear. Xiao He initially only showed 40 billion to make Lao Bai complacent, then used overwhelming tactics to surpass him. He played a trick, catching Lao Bai off guard. Xiao He not only wanted Lao Bai's money but also planned to take his life. The sudden betrayal of a good friend worsened Lao Bai's already poor health. Soon, another of Lao Bai's allies arrived. This was a friend who originally promised 10 billion, but only brought a mere 1 billion to the scene. It's hard not to suspect Xiao He, but there's something Kaiji hasn't realized yet. After the first round of external aid ended, the two parties stood on the car, and the balance began to sway. The audience was equally tense because it affected their next bets. Moments later, the balance slowed down. Things aren't looking good. Originally, Lao Bai's initial funds were overwhelmingly dominant, but unexpectedly, he's now been surpassed by a large margin. Next is the second round of external aid, family. This round is Lao Bai's weakness because he only has one brother. This time, Xiao He's external aid arrived first, and surprisingly, it was his wife. It turns out Xiao He married her just 3 days ago. Clearly, this was all prepared specifically for today. Although Kaiji is quite upset, what can he do? What's worse is that the woman is the daughter of a big capitalist. She previously brought over 10 billion for Xiao He. This scene stirred the audience, who seemed to have chosen their side. At this moment, Lao Bai's brother finally arrived, bringing ownership of 3,000 acres of land. But unexpectedly, after appraisal, it was only worth a gold bar. It turns out that just yesterday, the land was designated as a landfill, causing its value to plummet overnight. And the culprit, of course, is Xiao He. Suddenly, Kaiji felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Why can Xiao He always perfectly counter Lao Bai's preparations? Wait, Kaiji finally realized the seriousness of the problem. Their preparations must have been leaked. Otherwise, Xiao He couldn't have been so prepared. So who is this person? Kaiji looked towards the sofa and vaguely guessed a person. Someone no one would expect. This person is the bald secretary who has been with Lao Bai day and night, and he was holding a painting. This is a painting Lao Bai once wanted to buy for 20 billion. Years ago, he fell in love with a young woman and had a child, but Lao Bai left without a word, leaving only this painting for the mother and child. The secretary is that child, and he has always resented Lao Bai. Now, he brought out the painting to completely ruin Lao Bai, including leaking all of Lao Bai's preparations to Xiao He. But no one expected that after professional appraisal, the painting was worthless. Only the frame was worth half a coin. It turns out this was a painting Lao Bai made himself. He spread rumors of buying it to find the mother and child. Upon hearing this, the secretary was devastated, realizing he had wrongly blamed his father and even teamed up with outsiders against him. In an instant, she was so ashamed that tears filled her eyes, while Xiao He added insult to injury, loudly cursing the secretary as useless and urging her to take the half coin and get out of there. The already upset secretary, seeing Xiao He's heartless behavior, angrily threw the half coin away on the spot. The third round of competition temporarily came to a close. Xiao He's repeated dirty tricks led to Lao Bai being crushed. Now, there's one last chance for a match, which is the audience's bet. The side they bet on will win 10 times the odds. It's clear to everyone who is already in the lead, so they all rush to Xiao He's side, throwing their coins over. The game has 15 minutes left. Lao Bai's last hope is Kaiji. As Lao Bai's special guest, He's been waiting for this moment. With his mind racing, Kaiji suddenly had an idea. To overtake Xiaohei in a short time, he had to play this death bungee. Winning with 11 books would earn 1 billion. The rules are simple. There are 10 tracks with 10 ropes. Players just need to choose a track and jump. Of course, only one of the 10 ropes won't break. Kaiji stood on the track, observing for a long time. Finally, he chose number 10. Meanwhile, Xiaohei was informed of Kai's choice by his subordinates. He immediately breathed a sigh of relief, as the outcome seemed certain, and the game time was nearing its end. Unable to hide his inner joy, Xiaohei laughed out loud. Lao Bai, unable to bear it any longer, clutched his heart and collapsed. Just then, Kaiji returned, pushing several carts of surprises. But Lao Bai was in such poor condition that he couldn't recover, so Kaiji had to continue the fight in his place. Xiaohei looked at the seemingly resurrected Kaiji in shock. What happened? It turned out that a mysterious woman had just found Kaiji and revealed the secret that the death bungee numbers could be manually controlled. Kaiji, being smart, quickly devised a plan. He first had the awakened secretary cut off the bungee power, so the numbers couldn't be manually controlled and would continue from the previous round. Then, he sent a companion to dig through the trash and find the numbers of those who had fallen to their deaths, eliminating them one by one. This way, they successfully obtained the safe number from the previous round, number 9. The companion then delivered the number to the bungee site at a critical moment. However, Kaiji initially chose the wrong number because he didn't see the companion's gesture clearly. It wasn't until the last moment that he confirmed number 9 by reading lips. That's why we switched track positions and secured the 10 billion prize. I thought Little Black would be upset, but he seemed indifferent. Well, the game is over, and he still won. Now Little Black is anxious, and the audience sees there's still 5 minutes left. Turns out, he planned this before the game started. Case found a former colleague, a clock repairman, fitting into Case's plan. Under his arrangement, the person infiltrated as a cleaner. When no one was watching, the repairman tampered with the clock. Listening to Case, Little Black gritted his teeth, annoyed but confident. The scale is high up, placing gold bars isn't easy, and 5 minutes isn't enough. Case anticipated this and was prepared. Drones flew in, carrying gold bars towards the scale. Meanwhile, Case persuaded the audience to throw coins onto his scale. The audience, seeing victory, rushed to Case's side, throwing coins onto the scale. 5 minutes passed quickly. Now it's time to determine the winner. Who will win? Both stood on the scale, and it swayed. Case's side was short. The host announced Little Black's victory, and the audience cheered. Then, the crowd moved, and a few coins rolled off the pointer. Coins rolled towards Case, landing at his feet, causing the scale to sway. This time, it was just a tiny bit away from turning the tables. Little Black smiled, while Case looked unwilling, but the clock ticked again. Suddenly, a huge amount of gold coin is rolling off the clock's pin into the man's pot, leading him to the nearly win. Witness the miracle. The moment has arrived. A single coin's difference gave Case a slight edge to crush Little Black. This crucial coin seems to be the one the secretary tossed earlier. That Little Black. His mindset instantly collapsed. Case successfully won this epic gamble, winning the opponent's entire fortune in the market. In the end, Case and his buddies split the huge sum, and he naturally picked the big box and happily went to the hotel to feast. But just as he was about to pay, he opened the box and was dumbfounded. Case, just like the previous 2 times, got tricked again. It was that mysterious woman behind it all. This was her reward for helping Case get the death bungee. Of course, this was a deal made secretly between the mysterious woman and Case's partner. Case was completely unaware. However, they also gave him a chance, the big box and the small box. If Case didn't get greedy and chose the small box, then the mysterious woman wouldn't take a penny. Blame it on Case being too greedy. The mysterious woman also knows him very well, perhaps. Just as the woman said, be smart but not greedy. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.